This episode of iFanboy is brought to you by GoDaddy.com, Netflix.com, and eMusic.
Didn't we just do this?
Yeah,
Yep.
we just did it. Yeah.
It's like a year ago.
Really?
Oh, it wasn't that long.
No?
Almost a year.
No.
Almost a year. Can we do another show on him again?
We can do another show. Look at all the books that have come out.
Ooh.
There's a new movie, you know.
Hey, welcome to iFanboy, the comic book discussion show from the website iFanboy.com. My name is Conor. I'm here with...
Ron.
And I'm Josh. We alluded to having done a Hellboy episode before, where we'd all just discovered Hellboy, I think. The comics, or rediscovered.
Yep.
That was shortly after that. It's been a while since then, and we're much more...
Versed in the
Yeah, I'd say into it.
in the Hellboy-averse.
And there's a movie coming out again. And,
yeah.
And the thing that spurred this on, because we were watching the trailer, and we thought, God, that looks awesome.
This movie looks great.
Let's
there?
talk about that.
Okay.
There was a movie.
Yep. We saw it in the theater. You saw it on DVD.
Yep.
I remember seeing it in the theater, and I liked it a lot. I thought it really captured the first movie captured the emotion and the look and the feel of Del
Guillermo
Toro.
Del Toro.
You know, I always want to say Benicio Del Toro, and that's the actor. But I thought it was really good. I remember when you saw it in the theater, you didn't really like it, but
No, I
then
didn't.
after reading the comics, you liked it more.
It didn't really affect me, I guess. I didn't have any frame of reference. After reading the comic books, I did really enjoy it more.
Yeah.
That's probably not the best formula
Yeah.
for making a movie. But no, I definitely, after really reading the books, I watched the movie again. I really enjoyed it more. So now I'm much more excited for this.
And
this
you liked the
new
movie
one.
when you finally saw it.
Yeah, I liked it on DVD, and then
Yeah.
I liked it again. Like, after coming back to Hellboy, I liked it more the second time. I saw it just recently to catch up, get ready for this movie.
It's really
So-
interesting that you can do that with a property.
Yeah.
You know, that
It
after you-
enriches.
where it's so somehow connected to the material that when you really like the material that it doesn't let you down. Normally
Yeah.
it's the opposite.
Yeah. So Hellboy II, The Golden Army, is opening this weekend.
Yep.
The trailer makes it appear as if it's much bigger in scope.
It's
this time.
huge.
It's huge, which is interesting because I didn't think the first movie was that much of a success.
It wasn't a U.S. success. It was the film cost in the $60 million range budget-wise. It only made $59 million, which is a loss, especially when you subtract exhibitor fees and marketing and all that stuff. But it did really well worldwide, $40 million, and did $50 million just in tape rentals. So it had a second life.
So yeah, almost about 150 million from a 60 or so million dollar movie. So it seems to have been a success.
Clearly they decided to make another one.
Yep.
And go bigger, and Del Toro's got much more of a rep. He had Pan's Labyrinth, which was an Oscar-nominated film.
And that the trailer was like from the Oscar-nominated director of Pan's Labyrinth, and it's like right when one of those weird Del Toro creatures are there with all the eyes, which I think Del Toro as a director for these movies is a good pairing between Mignola and Del Toro, because both Mignola's got this weird mind in terms of the way things look visually, and Del Toro's now like you can tell a Del Toro movie.
But you know what the funny thing is that
By
to me
those
they're
things.
very different.
Yeah, no, I
guys,
think
because
yeah.
if you look at Mignola's stuff is so sparse,
yeah.
and Del Toro's is so
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
I mean like it's
But so now how do you? But so as a big Hellboy fan, like when you saw like this trailer more so than the first movie had that Del Toro stamp, I think.
you did.
That-
I definitely see
yeah,
that. I see
yeah.
the.
So that
why-
puts you off,
I
or?
see the Oscar. No.
Okay.
No. You know, it is odd though because I tend to think Hellboy is a very solitary character, and in a lot of these books.
He's not, though.
He's not, it's a teen book.
Well, not recently.
Right,
He's
no,
been
but I mean,
sort
it's
of
a
wandering
teen,
around his own.
yeah.
Right, but also, I see a lot of the scenes that he's in seem very quiet to me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like even the big monster fights, or like I see like he shows up with whole BPRD and then falls through a hole.
Yeah.
And then he's in a
Ends up
cave
by
by
himself,
himself,
yeah.
and I see it as very quiet.
Actually, the thing that's similar that I see is that when I think of Hellboy, I think of shadows. It's very dark. The world
Yeah.
is dark. They exist in darkness. They fight in darkness. So watching the trailer, it's very bright and just that seems off. I mean, it doesn't detract from it, but I noticed
It's
that.
different.
I think wow, it's really bright.
Yeah.
Like it's not usually bright.
It's very bright, yeah. And I thought this one, while the first movie was more kind of, away from the world, like there's a couple scenes that happen in the public, but then ultimately it was in that whole underground thing, stuff like that. There's a lot of scenes like in the street, and there's like a lot, I think they're playing up how the world perceives Hellboy and how he looks like a demon, but he's one of the good, like the tagline of the poster is like, believe it or not, he's the good guy. And they show him like with the big fist punching.
But the reason that works is you can sit there, look at it, and say, this doesn't look exactly like what I know. But the characterizations and the stories and the monsters and everything who showed up, they're dead on. They fit with what has been said before, and I think that's what makes it work. Because even in the books, Hellboy's known.
Yeah.
I mean, he's I don't know if you call him famous, but he's known.
People
he's
know
not,
about him.
Right, he's not a secret.
Yeah.
People are
Where in
aware.
the
And
first
he's been
movie, I
around.
got the
film,
feeling
it was a secret.
In the first film, it was a secret,
Right.
and that's one of the reasons why I'm really looking forward to this movie, because in this movie, like in the first one, you had Hellboy and Abe Sapien, and the BPRD was kind of underground kind of thing. But in this one, you've got the girl is Liz.
Liz
Sherman.
in the first one.
She was in the first one, but she wasn't really on the team. She
Right,
was still
she was
having
in the
trouble with her powers.
sanitarium, yeah.
Now she's got a new haircut. She's got control of her powers. She's got a gun. You know what I mean? Like, and
It's fabulous.
yeah, it's wonderful. So like I feel like the BPRD team is more of a publicly known kind of not want to say super team, but
Agency, yeah.
agency type thing. So I like that aspect better than in the first movie. So I don't know.
So we're looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
We've been talking throughout all these shows about the summer movies, and this is a jam-packed thing of summer movies. This was the one that Batman and Iron Man was going to be kind of tentpoles, but Hellboy was the one that I think was like
It holds a big mainstream
it's a
appeal,
sequel. Yeah,
I think.
it's a sequel.
I think this is one of the movies, or that first one, not a lot of people went to see it in the theater.
Yeah.
A lot of people have seen it since then.
It was on
And a lot of
Showtime, like on
people-
repeat for a while.
Well, a lot of
Yeah.
people have gotten to know Del Toro since then,
Yep.
and I think that you'll find the audience is much bigger for the sequel, which happens with some of these
That
movies.
freaky Del Toro eye thing.
Yeah.
No, but it looks like there's a great villain. It looks like there's that guy, the white-skinned guy, who reminds me of the villain of Ghostbusters 2 for some reason. I don't know.
Vigo the
Vigo.
Carpathian? Why am I doing things with goo? I love Vigo the Carpathian.
So that guy reminds me of Vigo the Carpathian. Yeah, but it looks like I can't wait to see it. I mean, it's
Okay, so if you like the movies, and you watched our other show, and you say, "Hey, what now?"
Right.
We wanted to talk about some of the stuff that has happened in Hellboy since then. So after we take a break, we will come back and do that.
Get reliable, secure web hosting from GoDaddy.com, which includes 99.9 uptime, 24/7 support, and free access to Hosting Connection, the place to install over 30 free applications sure to help you get the most from your hosting plan and website. If you want to make an impact online, GoDaddy.com has what you need. .com names as low as $1.99, plus world-class hosting and fast and easy website builders and much more. Keep your personal information away from spammers, hackers, and your crazy ex-roommate. Private domain registration from GoDaddy helps you protect your privacy by keeping your address, phone number, and more out of the public database. GoDaddy.com makes it easy to customize your own virtual dedicated server. Choose one of 3 popular plans or select your own Linux or Windows server with all the plan options you need. Your website visitors, prospects, and customers are wary of websites and online businesses that aren't what they claim to be and worry that their personal and financial information might fall into the wrong hands. Turn your visitors' concerns into a competitive advantage with the ironclad protection of a GoDaddy.com secure certificate. Looking to drive viewers to your video content? Then get a .tv domain name and stand out from the crowd. .tv domains are perfect for podcasters, video bloggers, anyone with something to say. And they're available now at GoDaddy.com. Tell your story to the world with .me, the top-level domain that's all about you. LandRush is only open until July 17th. Should the same domain be requested multiple times, an auction will be held to claim the name. So act now and create a unique, personalized space on the internet with .me. Tune in June 29th to July 5th to see GoDaddy girl Amanda Beard as she makes her bid for Beijing in the U.S. Swim Team Time Trials. And don't forget, coupon code iFanboy gets you 10% off all of your purchases at GoDaddy.com. Thanks to Netflix for sponsoring this episode of iFanboy. With Netflix, you can rent over 90,000 titles online, including lots of Blu-ray titles with free shipping both ways to your home. They now have over 40 shipping centers, so almost all deliveries happen in just one business day. The Netflix plans start as low as $4.99. As a new member, you can get a no-risk 2-week free trial membership. Just check out www.netflix.com/iFanboy and remember to type in that www when using this code. iFanboy is partnered with eMusic to create a hand-picked playlist of some of our favorite songs. Visit www.emusic.com/iFanboy, download the songs, and let us know what you think. We'll be creating new eMusic playlists, and when we do, we'll tell you about them on our show. eMusic is offering 50 free songs to iFanboy viewers when they visit www.emusic.com/iFanboy and sign up for a free trial. eMusic delivers songs in the universally compatible MP3 format, which means your music plays on your iPod or Zune with no restrictions or DRM hassles. Visit www.emusic.com/iFanboy today.
Before we had talked about Hellboy, and we talked about the Hellboy books.
Hellboy.
Hellboy. Wake the Devil, Seed of Destruction.
And you can get them the first volume of the library edition, which is ultra nice and beautiful and nice and
Which
archival.
we did iFanboy Mini on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just big, beautiful coffee table sized book.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about those books though.
Right.
Okay, now since then, I've been buying pretty much everything that's come out in issues from Dark Horse.
Yeah, you've been on the Hellboy
I have
wagon.
been, because something comes out every week, it feels like. But the thing is, not a
Papa
lot of
needs
actual...
a new pair of shoes.
You did this last time.
Arr.
You played Hellboy before.
I did play Hellboy.
You were the
before.
right hand of Doom.
Doom. Sorry.
Okay, and you're in Red again.
Did on purpose.
Wow, you're so smart.
Comics.
Right. The thing about this is that there's the BPRD, which is sort of a spin-off series. Mike Mignola has got his hands in all this. He doesn't necessarily write all of them.
No, but he oversees
He's
everything.
the executive producer of everything that happens.
He writes a lot of them, or he plots a lot of
Yeah,
them.
no, he's definitely involved in everything that happens. I don't know if he's actually writing down the words, you know, because that's for little people.
Hey now.
He doesn't do the art so much anymore.
No, that's a shame.
Which is because there was a couple of Hellboy series that came out. We'll get to that, though. I wanted to talk about some of the miniseries that have come out in the last year and some of the things you can look for. There's B.P.R.D, which is sort of an ongoing... it's a collection of miniseries, basically, which is what Dark Horse does a lot. They do it with Fear Agent. They do it with this.
Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense.
And one of the cool things that happens in Hellboy is that they don't work linearly with time. It's not, every story isn't what happens the next day. They keep going back because they've been around since the 40s. They can just keep telling stories from the past and putting that back together. So the first thing that really excited me was B.P.R.D. 1946, which was by Josh Dysart and
Paul Azaceta.
And it's a great art. They take you back in Broom, who was Hellboy's dad, the guy who discovered him and raised him. He's in Berlin at the time, and there's Nazis and Russians, and they're all sort of trying to clean up afterwards. And all this stuff, because Hitler was an occultist, or theoretically, so there's all this stuff that's been left over, and then you find out there's these zombie vampire things that.
Well, Berlin was the hot spot after the war. That was
exactly.
where it all went down.
Yeah.
So there's like this realistic history element at the same time mixed with a ridiculous fantasy element.
Which is what Hellboy is all about.
Exactly, and but the fact that Hellboy is actually not in this, and it's got Broom as the central character, brings it down a little more to a realistic level, which is...
Broom's awesome.
Broom is a great character.
Broom is so good.
And he will always be John Hurt in my head.
Yeah, the voice is John Hurt for me.
Which is a great voice. It's wonderful. Because Broom died.
In the first book.
Yeah.
The first Hellboy book that came out, he dies right away.
Yep.
And he dies in the movie, too.
Which sucks, because he's a great character and he dies in the first movie. But then, what you said, they can go back in time and tell past stories. Broom is back.
Right. So that's that kind of thing. One of the others...
Do you think that the moment that Mike Mignola and who's editor Dark Horse, they're like, wow, we got these movies. What can we do? He's like, we can go back and talk about how they started. And then they like realized all the years. I know, yeah. It's just like the head exploded, and it's just like, oh, you're right.
Because we were just used to forward always.
Genius.
Then you've got Lobster Johnson, the Iron Prometheus. This came out in the last year or so. Also, it is more of a pulpy adventure story. You know,
when do those take place?
I'm not sure, but not now.
There's Nazi symbols.
Right.
Yeah, there are Nazi symbols.
Well, Lobster Johnson showed up in the Hellboy books as sort of a legend.
Yes.
He was an old character.
Yep.
So this is another way of going back.
And he's fighting crime and Nazi crime and
big eyes.
And what's interesting, he's got these big orange eyes, and it's interesting to see how color in the Hellboy universe, we talked about this, is always a present important thing, and Lobster Johnson is it's both the lobster claw symbol as well as those orange eyes that are, you know.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things when you say Mike Mignola is involved with everything.
Yeah.
One of the things, there is a look across all of these books. And it's not always the same artist, it's not always exactly the same, but the tone is very similar, and a lot of that can be given to Dave Stewart, who is the colors for most of this stuff.
Yeah, or Nick Filardi, who does a lot of it too.
Yeah. There's a very consistent line between these books so that you sort of know what kind of books you're reading.
Jason Armstrong drew Lobster Johnson, and definitely combined that paranormal with that pulpy kind of look.
Well, right, and so what one of the points I wanted to make is that, you know, our BPRD 1946 is history and horror. Lobster Johnson's like pulp adventure. This is a little science fiction. There's like robots and stuff, and they're just different kinds of stories. So if you don't like one, I wouldn't discount the next miniseries because they're all different. And then you get to recently Abe Sapien, The Drowning was a 5-issue mini that came out.
Abe Sapien is one of the members of BPRD. He's the amphibious
Fishy
creature. He's
guy,
half
fishy
fishy.
He's
been around for
the gentle voice.
Since forever. Isn't he older than Hellboy?
Yes, he's been around. He's named Abe because they discovered him in the time of Abe Lincoln.
Was it he died the day he died or something?
I believe so. Yeah.
But this is actually the first non-Hellboy book that I bought. There's all these books, and all I hear about is how great they are. BPRD, everyone loves BPRD, and Josh loves Lobster Johnson. I hear all about it. I've been reticent to get into these books because, for me, the look of Hellboy is so strongly tied to Mignola's art.
Yeah.
And it's like getting past that and accepting other artists having drawn it has been difficult for me. Jason Sean Alexander drew Abe Sapien. It's just beautifully looking.
Yep.
And this really helped me get past that. It allowed me to get things like B.P.R.D, the Ectoplasmic Man one-shot, and get into the new Hellboy series that's out right now. With the Crooked Man.
Yes,
Man,
we'll get to that.
Bought that. That looks great. Richard Corbin's art.
Jason Sean Alexander's art is almost like a little Jay Lee-esque in some ways.
It is. You may remember him from, he did an arc of Queen and Country.
Yep.
He did the
Escapist.
He did the Escapist.
The Eternal art.
Oh, right. Yeah.
The
Which was
actual
very Jay
comic
Lee.
art.
That was totally Jay Lee. Yeah.
Well, that's his thing. Cool. He's a great artist. He's not as appreciated as I think he should be. This series was a little obtuse.
It didn't make any sense, but it
This
was
was-
beautiful.
So was it more? I mean, I
This
didn't
was a
read
flashback.
It, so,
This is Abe Sapien has been sort of the main character in BPRD the whole time, which has been going on for quite a while as well as a series of minis, like we said. And this goes back to sort of his first time out on his own. And the idea is he's always used to having Hellboy there to back him up. And Hellboy's, for all intents and purposes, like a Superman. If you've got him with you, you're going to be okay because he can't be hurt. He's fine. And so, this is Abe has questions about whether he's good enough or whether he's strong enough, and there's a monster, and they get in his head, and it was a little obtuse. It was a little hard to tell.
The big problem was a lot of it was not in English.
What language is it in?
Whatever old
Yeah.
language.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So
I mean,
it wasn't even one that you could even.
No.
Sometimes when a book goes into French for a couple
No,
of
no.
panels, I can hold up. But yeah.
No, there's a lot of
Yeah.
scenes that just in the old demon language.
Oh, awesome.
But it was interesting enough as it is. But I think what's so strong about these series is that you can pick them up. You don't have to follow them in order. There's no linear line. Well, I've read Lobster Johnson. That means I can now read BPRD.
Right. Yeah. You can
just
dive right in.
Just get BPRD 1946. You can get Lobster Johnson. You can get Abe Sapien.
Yeah.
You can get the one shots. You can get the Crooked Man.
Yeah.
You can pick up the old BPRD. I mean, these are all things you can just jump into right away and not have to worry. about.
And it seems to me at least that they've this past year at least has been a lot of the support, the BPRD books and the other characters. But I mean, they're still putting out Hellboy books.
Well, there is. There was last year. There was Darkness Calls, and this was I believe the first one that Mignola didn't draw. Duncan Fagredo did.
Ooh, he's good.
It's still a beautiful book, but it's not.
It's not
Mignola. Mignola does all the covers, I think, for the most part, for
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Then just recently they started. You mentioned the Crooked Man. The Crooked Man.
First issue just came out
last week.
Yeah. Richard Corbin on art,
Really
long
good.
time, very big name in
Legendary
horror comics.
horror artist.
Very like stippled dots and things like that.
He's very unique. No one else really looks like his art.
And at first I thought, I don't know if this will work, and it works.
It totally
it's
works.
It's a beautiful
Yeah.
book. It's a story. Hellboy goes. He's like in the American South.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because it also takes place in 1958. So again, like this next Hellboy story is in the past. It's not linear, so you could pick it up and read it right now. There's no problem with doing that.
Yeah.
And usually Hellboy's romping around Europe in big gothic castles and stuff. So like to see him with the dude who's got like a
with the hat with the overalls
Yeah.
and they're walking through the forest and kind of.
I've seen you on the new movie reel.
Yeah, and it kind of ties into that when you get into the I don't want to say the backwoods, but deep in the south,
The
and
rural areas.
in the Adirondacks and Ozarks and stuff like that. It has that kind of feel to it.
And it's also
where-
mixed in with the fact that because in those areas Christianity is I say more prevalent, in everyday life. It is.
Yeah.
And that plays into, Christianity exists in this world, but there's also an
All these other
acknowledgement
religions.
of this demon side, and this is actually makes Christianity really relevant to it because it's all happening at the same time.
it's all God versus the devil. I mean,
Exactly.
all demons and there's
So
And
the
then,
devil
like-
plays a big role in the Crooked Man, which
Right.
is I don't know. The thing is, of the three of us, I read the least Hellboy stuff just because I read so much. But I was really taken in by both the combination of Corbin's art and the setting. I thought
There's a really nice scene where like he's saying, well, we can go in the church, and if you can go in the church, you can't be the devil, so you'd be fine. And he's just like, no, I know you're not the devil. I've seen him.
Yeah.
And it's just like I accept you. You're
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
You're big. And Hellboy is so matter of fact in everything.
He's a great
It's-
character.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
him as a
Yeah.
character. He's great. Finally, one of the other couple things they've been putting out a couple of one shots. So if you don't know the characters, then you can. A few months ago or so, War on Frogs, written by classic artist Herb Trimp.
drama Herb Trimp.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Because I'm dumb. Roger the
Homunculus.
I can't say that word. I love that character. Weird looking dude, but
He had a brief visual cameo in the first film.
yeah, did he?
He's in the background
really?
of when they were walking through the headquarters. He's like against the wall.
Oh, cool.
Well, I'm not promising we're going to show you that.
No, well, you're not going to see that. But I remember reading that after I saw the movie.
So this is like if you go in a comic store and you see a stack of them, this is a one-shot, one-book thing. You can read it. Just more recently, BPRD, the Ectoplasmic Man. Again, Same thing. It's another character from
This was
BPRD.
fantastic.
Was it more science fiction-y? I mean, the ectoplasmic.
No, this is all
No.
ectoplasmic is ghosts.
Oh,
you know,
right, true.
remember
Yeah,
Ecto.
yeah,
Ecto
yeah,
1.
yeah.
He's-
Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
He's a prominent medium,
Oh,
and he's
interesting.
killed.
Yeah.
And he has to make up for the fact that he was leading a seance or something like that. And,
Yeah.
and
He
all
He feels
the people were
guilty
killed
because everybody else died because he was in touch with the spirit world.
Right.
Right, and so they make a suit for him, and they put his essence in the suit, and then he can therefore affect the physical world, and he's part of the BPRD.
The neat thing, I mean, about these one-shots are great. You pick them up in the one-shot, they're great. But also these little 4 or 5 issue miniseries, they're going to collect them in trades.
Yep.
And you're going to grab them when you want to.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's great.
So that's the Hellboy world. I mean, there's so much. It's so dense. It's so rich, and it's just you could go on and on.
But it's built in such a way that you don't need to have the whole thing, and which I think is nice.
Right. So if you like Hellboy and you like the movie, send us an email, contact@ifanboy.com. Let us know what you think.
You go ahead.
You can give us a call at 888-FANBOYS, which is 326-2697. Leave us a voicemail. Tell us where you're from, who you are. Keep it short.
And get over to ifanboy.com for a thread on this and all sorts of content and all sorts of stuff. There'll be a podcast about the Hellboy movie that we'll do, so
Audio
look out for
podcast.
that from there. And get over to revision3.com/ifanboy for more videos. And you go back to episode number 40.
Yep.
Watch
So-
the old Hellboy show.
Totally.
Doom.
Oh, crap.